Guys, it's a super exciting day because today we've got some brand new characters in Raid Shadow Legends. Focus, guys, focus. It's not even the unit that we're talking about. There's a few new units, and there's also a brand new limited time fusion, Grlehagbane. It's kind of like that Hansel and Gretel thing. Let's take a look at her. So like I said, brand new fusion unit, Grlehagbane. She has ridiculous synergy if her and Hansel are on the same team. Of course, Hansel is not a fusion unit, but if you happen to have Hansel, you must get this unit because it gets absolutely ridiculous if you have them both on the same team. There's a few of those synergies in Raid Shadow Legends. By the way, this is sponsored by Plarium. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to download the game. There's some free goodies. I'm going to pop them up on the screen right now. You can also use the code Monkey King to get one of the best legendaries in the game, Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, which I've explained before in other videos, but he is a ridiculous unit that you definitely should get. So definitely use that promo code for that. So Grlehagbane, like I said, she's got some crazy synergies if both of them are on the same team. She's got the defense break here, but if Hansel is on the same team, I like the art style of this. Not everything has to have boobs hanging out. Oh, hold on. I forgot who I was talking to. Yes, I understand. I never should have said that. How dare I? How dare I? I forgot the audience I was talking to. She goes from having a defense break to an AoE defense break, 60% decreased defense on all enemies for 2 turns, plays an extra hit against enemies under any buffs. Then we have attacks one enemy 4 times. This isn't a huge amount of ignore defense though, but it's 4 hits. First hit is 10% ignore defense, second hit is 15%, third hit is 20, and then goes up to 25% ignore defense. And then if it kills an enemy, resets the cooldown of this skill and fills the champion's turn meter by 50%. Attacks all enemies with the Sacred Ritual. This is another one that she's got the nice team up with this. It's a decrease attack gauge skill. Attacks all enemies, decrease turn meter of all enemies by 25%. Not really a whole lot, but if Hansel's on the same team, decreased by 50% and can't be resisted. Also fills the champion's turn meter by 20% for each enemy alive after the attack. So if it doesn't kill, she's going to get more turns. Also, she's going to stop the enemies from getting too many crazy turns because this is her passive. Fills the champion's turn meter by 50%. This is kind of like the Fire Robo in Summoner's War. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy is granted an extra turn. If Hansel, I was like, yeah, when we get more of these in Summoner's War against the violent craziness. If Hansel Witch Hunter is on team, also fills their turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy is granted an extra turn. And then we also have the active effect. If Hansel Witch Hunter is on the same team and killed by the enemy, instantly activates the Sacred Ritual skill, which is this one right here. She also has the increase ally attack in all battles by 30%. And here's her counterpart, Hansel. Of course, not a fusion unit though, so keep that in mind. But if you do summon it, then you absolutely need to get Gretel because they're ridiculous together. So he's got the first skill, does an AoE if Gretel is on the same team. Second, it's a weaken debuff, which is kind of like Brand in Summoner's War. Then this second skill attacks one enemy 2 times, ignores shield and unkillable, grants an extra turn if the enemy is killed. And then we have this skill 3, ignores defense. It's an AoE ignore defense, and then ignores extra defense if Gretel is on the same team. Will also increase the cooldown of all enemy turns skills by 2 turns, which is, I think, pretty ridiculous. AoE cooldown increase. Can't be resisted if Gretel's on the same team. And then this is a reflection of the Fear and True Fear debuffs from this champion to the attacker. Does the same thing on Gretel if she's on the team as well. And if she is killed by the enemy, instantly activates the Baneful Burst. That is this skill as well. And then he's got the 30% attack power leader skill in Arena. I prefer speed, but... So again, Gretel is of course a limited time fusion unit. Hansel is not. So if you want Gretel, you want to do the fusion, you got to make sure you do it now. Also, use the link in the description and the QR code on the screen to do that if you have not already started playing Raid Shadow Legends. So we have also 4 new champions. These are summonable champions. Nell Blackteeth, which is absolutely a ridiculous unit. There's a few of these units in here where they change. This is like the Sylvan Watchers are kind of like Dryad type units, but she changes, she shapeshifts to a different form, and it's nightmare inducing, which half these characters in this game are nightmare inducing. We also have Vulcanus, few more. Sure, why not? Arnorn the Shining, and then we have Hansel Witch Hunter, which we already discussed. So we just have to take a look at the other 3. Next up, we have a brand new Void Legendary. If you guys are not familiar with Raid Shadow Legends and what a Void Legendary is, first off, you should be using the QR code on the screen and link in the description to download the game for yourself and use the promo code Monkey King to get a ridiculous legendary Monkey King. I gotta do it, guys. It's a promotion. I gotta do it. And all the stuff on the screen. Please tell me I actually put some stuff on the screen. Otherwise, it's very confusing right now. But if you guys are not familiar with Raid Shadow Legends, this is basically equivalent to an LD5, which should be ridiculous crazy. Balance patches happen though, so you never know. There was a unit that I thought was not that crazy, and then balance patches happened, and I was like, oh my god, this unit got so much better. But Arnor the Shining, brand new Void Legendary, he gets stronger when the enemy has more buffs on them. So that's kind of his thing. He is in the Dwarves faction. I'm sure you figured that out by the fact that he's a dwarf. Probably doesn't take too much to figure that out. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Damage increases by 5% for each buff on the target. Each hit has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. And then we have the attack one enemy. This is the second skill. Attack one enemy 2 times. Damage inflicted by this skill increased by 10% up to 10% HP this champion has lost. If the target is under 2 or more buffs, will also ignore 35% of the target's defense. Grants an extra turn if this attack kills the enemy. So we got some more things that are good when the enemy has a lot of buffs. So if you're looking for units, first off, it's a Void Legendary. So if you're looking for units, it should be very easy to get. And then we have skill 3, Wrath of the... I'm not going to say that. Grlehagbane. Sure. Attacks all enemies will ignore increased defense, strength, and shield buffs. This attack kills at least 1 enemy, decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 50%. This effect cannot be resisted. So all of this so far has been strong against enemy teams that have a lot of buffs. And then we have the Golden King passive effect, increases this champion's attack by 5% for each active buff on the enemy team. Again, more things that get better when the enemy has a lot of buffs. And then also prevents this champion's death and keep them alive on 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit. Place a stone skin buff on them for 1 turn, then instantly activates the Wrath of the skill. This will not place the skill on cooldown. So interesting. It's the same one as the Gretel. Same leader skill, increase attack. Next up we have Vulcanus Fumer. Apparently I don't know how to say that skill. So this is a unit that has synergy with other demon spawn units. He also has synergy against enemies that have HP burn on them. But he does HP burn, so that's good that he has synergy with himself. First skill, he's got the attack 1 enemy. Each time the skill is used, permanently increases the damage inflicted by the skill by 10%. Stacks up to 100%. Counterattacks with the skill every time an enemy under HP burn debuff attacks this champion or allies. Damage based on defense. I think all of these are based on defense, actually. And then the second one, I mean, he's a defense type unit, so he should be based on defense. That's how that should work. And then he has the Flaming Terror. Attacks all enemies, plays a fear debuff for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted by enemies under an HP burn debuff. So, more synergy with HP burn. Then we have the Demolition Burn. Attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Damage inflicted by this skill increases by 10% for the turns left remaining of any HP burn debuffs on the enemy team. Stacks up to 100%. Again, damage based on defense. There's other Demon Spawn Unity. If you have faction allies, and I think he's good for faction wars. That would make sense, right? So I think that that's going to be where people are using this unit the most, but I can see synergies with a lot of different areas of this game. We have Surging Demon Fire. Whenever an enemy receives a buff or has their turn meter increased, has a 50% chance to place an HP burn debuff on that enemy for 2 turns. HP burn is basically they do damage based on their HP. Just a little bit of damage for the whole team. And then has a 50% chance to instantly activate it instead. And then we have some Demon Spawn Unity for faction allies, which again is good for the faction crypts. And then we also have, this is a speed, but only for Demon Spawn. Aside from that, increases ally defense in all battles by 33%. Last, but definitely not least, because this unit is absolutely ridiculous, this is a brand new mythical unit, Nell Blackteeth. Basically what this is she turns, first off, she does like everything. Second off, she turns into like some psycho demon type of druid unit. I don't know why she's got a scythe with cake on it. I assume that's cake because I don't know what else what else that would be. So I'm just going to go with cake. And I think there's sprinkles on it as well. So, skill-wise, she's absolutely ridiculous. It's very, very rare, though. Mythical units are very, very rare. It's basically like a Nat 6 in Summoner. Like, there's not Nat 6 in Summoner's War, but if there was, it would be equivalent to like that. That's how rare it is. But she does similar, since she transformed, she's similar to the Druids in Summoner's War, but this is way more ridiculous in terms of what she does. So, first skill, we're going to be here for 10 minutes just going over her skills. Attacks one enemy, steals 10% of the target's turn meter, steals an additional 5% turn meter for each debuff on the enemy, also has a 75% chance of placing a True Fear debuff for 1 turn. So True Fear, basically, they get a turn, True Fear has a chance to activate. If it activates, they do nothing, and then they lose their turn. They can't, like, if they try to use a skill, they do nothing, and then they lose their turn. Then we have Soporific Musk. Steals all buffs from all enemies, decreases the target's turn meter by 10%, decreases each target's turn meter by an additional 5% for each debuff on them. Also, instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies, then places a sleep debuff for 1 turn on all enemies without poison debuffs. Kind of reminds me, I mean, not quite the same as like Gina, but Gina-ish skills, kind of, a little bit. No, she strips, she does dots, she does sleeps, kind of like the Dark Mystic Witch, a little bit, but I mean, much more than that. But you know, then she has a Sickle of Corruption, attacks all enemies, plays a 60% decreased defense and 25% weaken for all enemies for 2 turns. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%, which is a pretty wild skill on its own. Then she has the Metamorph, which changes her. And then we have the Blackteeth's Buffet. There's more skills. We're not even done. Blackteeth's Buffet, whenever an enemy receives a buff, is healed, or has their turn meter increased, plays a 5% poison on that enemy for 2 turns. Will ignore block debuffs buffs. Then what's the point of the block debuffs buffs? Increases the champion's turn meter by 5% for each poison debuff placed. All of these skills seem so ridiculous. Then she has the accuracy in arena battles by 100. I always want to say percent. It is not percent. It's just 100. You can keep going after 100 to God knows how much. I actually don't know how much. I don't know if it's 250 or whatever the case is. And then I haven't hit the cap because my my gear is terrible. That's the takeaway from this. And then she also changes her skills when she goes into Demon Psycho mode. So there's a couple units in the Sylvan Watchers that go into Psycho Demon nonsense. Look at this one. She's a half tree and half spider and half demon. Nice. Exactly what we want from a unit. I don't know. This is crazy. Some of her skills are the same. This is changes to Belly Slash. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Each hit will ignore 30% of the target's defense. Each hit will also decrease the target's max HP by 25% of damage inflicted. If the target is not a boss, also places a shield on this champion equal to 25% of the target's max HP. Again, ridiculous unit. Very rare, though. Cut 'em up level 1 attacks one enemy 2 times, deals 100% more damage to enemies under a stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, or petrification. If the target's killed, instantly activates the Feast of Terror skill, which is this one attacks all enemies, plays a true fear for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked by enemies with 50% HP or less. And then we have, this is just a Metamorph. And yeah, Ravenous Hunger. Whenever this champion kills an enemy using an active skill, grants this champion an extra turn. This is like a whole novel is reading this unit's skills. It's wild. Each debuff placed by this champion in either form increases this champion's HP, attack, and defense by 2%, stacks up to 50%, and speed by 2, stacks up to 50 in their alternate form. She's OP! Can I just say she's OP? You could skip the past 2 minutes. She's an OP unit. So yeah, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild unit. Absolutely ridiculous. There's other units. I think there's a really cool mechanic that this one turns into like a crow. Naze. Yeah. Crow daddy. Similar. He's got a crazy amount of skills. And then there's another one as well. Arbase. I don't know how to exactly pronounce that. Cool looking units though. I don't know why I keep hitting this she turns into like a 17-foot tall tree goddess. This looks like Geneva, but mixed with a tree. Kind of, no? No Final Fantasy fans? I know some of you are. Anyway, we got some summons to do, so let's get those done. You know we're not actually going to get any of these units because, especially that last one, super rare, but this is how to get it, Primal Shard. Because you have a tiny... I mean, it's supposed to be rare on purpose. It's an absolutely ridiculous unit. They can't just give that unit to everyone. But let's take a look. Let's see. I should actually select the unit. That might be new. Sometimes I think I have all of these things, and then I realize that there's some things that I actually don't have. I did catch some rares that I actually don't have, though. Now we got 900 of those. Guess it's a good time to summon because we have an event for that. That's how we're getting. By the way, if you haven't already downloaded Raid Shadow Legends, you can use the QR code on the screen. You can do the link in the description. Whichever way, download it. As if 20 people download Raid Shadow Legends with my link in the QR code, I will literally turn into a koala and eat bamboo on the koala version of OnlyFans, which is only koalas. Get hyped for that. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm definitely going to do it. We have no... I'm not even concerned at all because I know at least 20 of you are going to download the game. And then... Koala. God, sometimes I should just stop talking. I think that's what we've learned. Sometimes, don't talk anymore. Let's go. I need to select these units, though. Select the actual things in... I don't know what I am. Yeah, let's go this one. Sure. It doesn't matter anyway. We're not going to summon that, but we got a bunch of those. We got a bunch of Harriers. Again, I need to be selecting these things. Let's go... Sure, why not? This, I think, might actually be new. What? Have I not learned? Have I not actually learned this? There we go. 8,000 tournament points. Okay. Very nice. Epic support. I'm sure there's so many things I need to build right now. We might make this a priority, maybe? We'll see. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thank you to Plarium for sponsoring the video, and you can use the QR code, click the link in the description. Guys, we got to get 20 people to do it. We get the things on the screen, by the way. Definitely get the Monkey King. Seriously, get the Monkey King. I'm very, very serious on this. He's a ridiculous unit. 20 downloads. Dress like a koala. I mean, turn into a koala. That's what I meant. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for this one. See you as always in the next one.